Welcome to Best of Reddit. Be sure to subscribe as we upload new content daily. Our first nuclear revenge story of the day is titled, "My super entitled mother tried controlling me, I get my revenge for years of her bad behavior." So I'm in my 20s and as is my significant other that I'll call fiancé for this post. Keep in mind I'm heavily disabled mentally and physically, important for later, due to certain reasons caused by my biological parents. I refuse to relive those events, so I won't say what happened to me during the time I lived with them growing up, but I will say my parents are divorced and hate each other. I have a service dog and she's the best thing that ever happened to me. I'll call her Melly for this post to protect my privacy. Strap in for the ride, folks, because this is nuclear. Due to my physical disabilities and my mental illness that I had legally diagnosed by an actually certified professional, I receive federal aid because I am physically unable to work as a result. I've been receiving benefits and using them for the right purposes like my rent, getting my college loan paid off, and among other things I'm using it to afford my medications for my conditions. See, my mother is a firm disbeliever of mental illness and states that because she had a bad life no one else can suffer, and would always use that excuse with me. She was unfortunately the person that the government dubbed in control of my aid benefits. That was until I moved away eventually, when my now significant other helped me get out of that situation. During the time that I was with her, she wouldn't report to the government like she was supposed to. I even told her she had to. Her reply: "Why don't you report it yourself then?" Now I would, but the government doesn't want anything to with me since I'm not the one that the government dubbed was in charge. I tried on multiple occasions to convince her, to no avail. That's when I tried myself. They literally asked me directly after getting my name for my representative, my mom, and cut me off as I was trying to explain the situation. When that failed, I tried going in person only to get met with, "We need to talk to your representative or they have to be present for you to speak to us." This is because my mental illnesses made me physically incapable of distinguishing reality from the psychosis episodes I randomly get. Shout out to fiancé for literally always being my anchor, and Melly too, so I could understand from their point of view. That did still kind of sting though. Imagine being told that because you have a mental illness that you're unable to be a functioning enough adult to speak to someone. I got penalized for lying to the government as a result of her stupid choice. See, the years that I lived with my mom, I wasn't told how much aid and benefits I was getting. I knew it was more than she told me since her and her boyfriend both always seemed to get expensive things like jewelry and new phones around the time of my payments. In short, the rule for my payments is that I can't have access to the money, but it has to be used for me, not her. The only other option I had other than magically getting better was to get kicked out of the house and end up homeless without my benefits. I needed those to treat my conditions though. My mother and her boyfriend also would hurt me a lot, steal my meds, etc. Fiancé learned the truth because I had a call up one day with him while I was cooking and he witnessed my mom coming in and placing my hand inside a burning hot pan and screaming about getting more money I don't deserve. It took everything in him to not lose it at her when he saw this. He began to monitor everything because I would just be on Discord or Skype call with him during these times, so we could start gathering evidence by me leaving my phone on record at the same time as the call whenever I saw her enter the same room as me. Cue the nuclear revenge. One of the ways my mother tried to tie me to her was she would get me in debt with anyone and everyone she could, such as doctor appointments, college, etc., by stealing the cash that I had hidden from her to pay for those things. She was clearly also using my benefits for herself, which is against the law since it's meant for me. So fiancé, being the amazing man he is, he saved up money from his job and his active duty pay. He got me out of debt while keeping our evidence compiled and ready. The day freedom came, I snapped because she tried getting rid of Melly. After about 2 years of saving and biting the bullet, fiancé paid off my biggest debt so I was able to have enough room to be able to move out. He had me move in with him. We then had all the recordings from the past 2 years and turned it all in. Social Security of course let me change my representative, so I then finally convinced them to switch the rep to being fiancé instead of her. During this time though, he was called to get stationed in a state that was very far away for his military duty. and Social Security approved and said it was okay since he had orders to go. The result? From what my older brother explained, Mom tried desperately to keep herself as my representative. She lost the money she was using for all her fancy things as well as her house. Yes, you read that right. She used my benefit money to pay for the house without telling me. She was found guilty of federal fraud and falsifying federal documents among other things. I don't know how long she got. I didn't bother asking because I just completely cut her out of my life. Note: my brother and I are on happy sibling-friendly terms and we talk a lot, and my condition has improved since I was able to start treatment without having someone get in my way. Fiancé is amazing, and acts like a caretaker for me. When I left my mom, I didn't tell her I was leaving either, or else she would have done literally anything including murder to try to get me to stay. Edit: the reason I didn't leave sooner was because it's hard to leave a situation with zero money on top of having a medical issue to treat. And despite her allowing me to live there, she charged me rent and didn't inform me how much money I was getting. If I left without doing anything, I would have fallen on my face and been unable to care for myself. Leaving a situation like this isn't as simple as one phone call and done, especially when you don't even know the full scope of what they're doing to you. I wasn't a minor when I found out about this, and she had legal guardianship so I could receive benefits in the first place. And yes, she did get charged with abuse. I just don't like saying that word, which is why I put among other things. Have any of you known an entitled parent that acted this way? Let us know in the comments below. Moving on. Our next story of revenge is one called Almost Mother-in-law Fired Me Unrightfully So I Destroyed Her Company. Hey everyone, I decided to share my story. It all took place 17 years ago, but I feel like it belongs here. At that time I was 20 years old and dated my first true love. We'd been together for 1.5 years already and everything was just great. Her mother really liked me and she had her own company which traded fashion clothes for kids. She made a tons of money. They needed someone to drive one of their 3.5-ton trucks and she came up with an idea to hire me because I was unhappy with the job I had. So as a win-win situation I accepted her offer and we started working together. Job was okay, even though I had to work a huge amount of overtime because she thoroughly introduced me to how the whole company worked. She had a huge storage facility, a store, and 2 trucks. One that I drove and a big one. I worked for her like 1 year and in that time I knew every single thing about the company because she trusted me with all the dirty secrets. This later came in handy. This is where things took a huge turn. I found out that my girlfriend cheated on me with her ex, and as a result I broke up with her instantly. It was an ugly situation, and after it went down I called her mother and told her what was going on and that I don't want to mix things with business, so I will still be there for work, even though I don't want to see her daughter again. She said everything is all right, but of course she sided with her daughter and I felt that she is mad at me because of the breakup. I went to work and acted as a professional should, took all the drama aside. However, soon after she singled me out and started looking for mistakes so she can discipline me. This had been going on for months and I realized she was just waiting for an excuse to fire me, but I wasn't gonna give that reason to her that easily. She was peeved that she couldn't find big mistakes and the small ones she often just made up was not enough to terminate me. So she came up with a plan. On the truck we had a power generator which provided a light and a power for laptop, printer and so on. It worked in 2 ways, with fuel when we were on the road and with cable in case we were at the storage. But it was not made by a company, they just hired an electrician for that and he made an error, so we had to flip a switch all the time if we used it with a cable connection, otherwise it would burn down. As I loaded the truck she convinced a co-worker to flip the switch back and after a few minutes the lights were gone and I noticed something's wrong. It burned out of course, but I knew I didn't forget the switch because I was loading the truck for an hour and it only took 5 minutes tops to burn out, so it couldn't be me. She didn't even hear me out, she started yelling and fired me on the spot and stated that she gonna pay the repairs out of my last salary, so don't expect any money from her. I didn't take that lightly, and told her that, I don't think you wanna go this way with me, but she refused to listen. It took a few days for me to cool down, but I wanted to give her a last chance. I called her and told her even though I know what was going on and she did set me up, but if I get my money, I will call it an end, and we don't have to see each other again. She told me to screw off, so I came up with a plan. First, because I knew that the store didn't have a bathroom, which was illegal in my country, the shop assistants had an agreement with a restaurant on the opposite side to go there if they needed. I reported this to the authorities. And the next day they closed the shop because of this violation, and told her she can't open up until they have a bathroom. She called me right away and asked me if I had anything to do with this. I laughed and told her, "Didn't I tell you that you don't want to go this way with me?" and hung up. I knew that we worked so much overtime that me and the other truck driver had so much overdrive on the TAC cards. It records how many hours you drive and how fast, and when you stopped. So I called the authorities again and told them everything. They went and checked all the records and gave the company a brutal fine. She sent me obscene text messages all day long after that. I replied, "Ain't done yet." Then silence. Few hours went by and my phone rang. She called and asked me if we can talk it over. She even said she would send me my last paycheck, but I shut her down immediately and told her, too late for that. And I called the fire department and told them that the wires they had in the walls of the store were outdated, which caused short circuits daily, and that they only have 2 fire extinguishers for the whole place when they should have like 12 to 15. On that very day they had to close the storage as well, so she lost the last place where she could make money for months until they get everything up to date and renew all the wires, which cost a huge amount of money. Because of the fines she got from the different authorities, she couldn't afford these renovations, of course. Few months later she filed for bankruptcy. I know, because my ex-girlfriend called me with, "I hope you're happy, butthole, you made my family bankrupt." I never gotten my paycheck, but at that point I didn't even care anymore. I was happy with the outcome. I hope you enjoyed my story. Update. I never thought that my post was going to get so much attention. First of all, thank you for all the support. I tried to answer to every one of you. I got a bunch of DMs from people asking questions, and I thought the best way is to make an update instead of typing the same thing to everyone over and over. Also, thank you for all the awards. Oh, and sorry in advance for my grammar. Let's get into it. So after a few months, the tax department, or as some of you know it, the IRS, took almost everything from her. Store, stuff, storage, trucks, the whole 9 yards. She got so many fines from different authorities she could not pay it, so after everything was gone she sold her house and moved to a smaller apartment and never owned a business again as far as I know. She works in a store as a clerk, things not looking good. My ex-girlfriend, well, she married to the next guy and now they have 4 kids. After the second child she really let herself go, and now if I'm happy that I didn't have a child with her. I'm not gonna fat shame her, but darn, at least they're still together, so maybe, just maybe, she learned a lesson and did not cheat on him. Or so I hope. About me, I had a long relationship after her. My son was born, but she was a lazy gold digger, so after 5 years we separated. I've met the love of my life after that, and since almost 9 years we are still happy together. She also got out of a terrible relationship, abuse, and domestic violence, so she truly appreciates me and vice versa. I love her to death. I hope I answered all the questions. Love you all. Bye. If you enjoyed either or both of these nuclear revenge stories, please mash that subscribe button and drop us a like below, as it helps this channel grow. Thank you.